Alright, I'm gonna say it. Who are we waiting for?
We'll find out sooner or later. Just shut up and stop tapping your foot already.
What? Am I the only one who's curious?
I never said that. I just said that there's no use in getting worked up because there's no way to know until we know.
What do you think, 3?
Oh, am I 3? Is that decided?
Well, I thought I'd go in the order of who spoke. 1, 2, 3.
That's an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah, this is so interesting. So fucking interesting. This whole thing is interesting. Where are we even?
A theater.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. Well, it seems like we're not gonna get help from Mr. 3 over here.
You're the only one who keeps talking.
Number 4, what are you thinking?
Hey, I'm just an observer, man.
Oh, for crying out loud, am I the only one who wants to know what the hell we're doing here?
Am I the only one who wants to hear the sound of you shutting the hell up?
You know, you're a very deeply confrontational person, and I respect that about you, but now is not the right time.
That's the thing. Now's not exactly time at all.
And who the hell are you?
That depends entirely on what you want me to be. For all intents and purposes, I'll introduce myself as Death.
Welcoming face. Gender swapped. Although I suppose death doesn't necessarily have a gender. Fascinating.
Apples. What a magnificent thing. Truly one of mankind's greatest discoveries.
I'm sorry. This is Death? Like the Grim Reaper?
You know, that's actually a really offensive term. How would you feel if you were just doing your work and someone started calling you, ooh, the scary fish salesman? Rude, actually.
How'd you know?
How'd I know you're a fish salesman? Right. I imagine you have a lot of questions. Yes, I'm Death, and I prefer you call me that rather than any unpleasant nicknames you may have heard.
I'm sorry. This just isn't what I expected you to look like.
What? You expected a tall man in a cloak with a scythe? No. No. I don't work like that. See, when people think of death, what do they think of? Dark, black nothingness, terrifying, scary, woo, ghosts? No, that's not it. Now, I understand people have a lot of ideas of the afterlife, but I'm here to tell you right now, the afterlife is what you make of it. There's no set rules, no pearly gates, no all-knowing judge, just you and me. You are in a conversation with death. And my job is not to judge you. I'm simply here to guide you into the next stage of existence. A lot of people leave the physical life with regrets, guilt, unresolved things. I'm here to help you accept that.
Wait, I'm dead?
That's all you got from that?
I don't know. There was a bunch of shit I wanted to do before I croaked. And now, I guess I can't.
Yes, and you see, that's the point.
That?
You have things you wanted to do, right? All of you, right? The afterlife is no place to bring that into. It's a jumping off point to begin your healing and move on to the next stage.
And where is this exactly?
That's a complicated question. This isn't here per se, neither here nor there. You could call this an in-between place.
That's perfectly not confusing.
Why a theater?
Great question. People have come to acts of theater since the ancient Greeks. Great spectacles they are. No matter what happens in their lives, people have made time for entertainment. That's what I love about humanity. Emphasis on art. It's a bit of comfort in an unusual world. And that's the point of this place, in-between place, is it not? to provide comfort. So, naturally, a theater. There you go. 1 and 2. I see you're still not convinced.
I just don't get it. Why all this? The world is full of pain and suffering, and you wait until after we die to provide us comfort? It doesn't make any sense.
That's the question, isn't it? Let's get into it then. You all have unfinished business on Earth. You all have regrets, shames, ghosts, for lack of a better word, things that haunt you. Memories, people, experiences. It's all an ocean. In life, you never have the time or means to sort through it all. You can try and damn near succeed, but that's the point of life. It's never perfect. You do your best while you're alive, and then come here to sort out the rest.
How much time do we have here?
It depends. Time works differently here. I'd say in Earth time you've been here for about 5 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
No, it helps speed up the process. You go through a lifetime of healing here, so why waste time by making it take longer? In addition, emotions are heightened here, making it speed up the process a little bit more.
So how do we start? How do we do it? Heal.
We talk. It's a conversation.
What if we don't want to? What if we're afraid to talk about it?
I know, honey. It's scary. But I'm here to hold your hand through the process, to make it easier.
I don't like holding hands.
Poor choice of words. I'm sorry. Regardless, I'm here for you. We all are. We're in this together. Would anybody like to start?
Alright, I'll start. I think I know what my ghost is.
What's your ghost, 3?
I never found someone who loved me. Right?
Go on.
It's hot in here all of a sudden. Really put me on the spot here. Okay, I'll just start. I was a writer before I was here. Always wanted to be a writer, as long as I could remember. I wasn't really the most popular kid in school growing up. I was a nerd. I was uncool, and I was awkward. I liked to read and watch movies, and I loved indie music. Stories were kind of the only thing that made sense to me because people definitely didn't. All I wanted growing up was to belong to something, but the older I got, the more it seemed like that wasn't going to be possible. So I dove into stories, became obsessed with them, and started writing them. I spent years of my life writing my first novel, starting in college, and I sold it in my late 20s, but nobody read it. Publisher told me I didn't have what it takes. And I guess it would have been fine if maybe I had someone to go home to, but I guess that wasn't really in the cards for me either. No one wants to be with the poor writer from upstate New York, right?
Were you ever in love?
No. I came close once in college. I started seeing this photographer, Angela. She was sweet, pretty, and smart. She had this way of making you laugh with just a look and making you be quiet with one. She was mean, but not too mean. She had a soft side, too. I thought I was in love. I thought we were in love. But a few months in, it turned out she wasn't happy. Maybe it was my constant need for reassurance, or my lack of experience, or hell, maybe I was a bad kisser. Whatever it was. I got a text one day saying it would be better if we went our separate ways. That was the closest I ever got. To tell you the truth, I think I loved her more than she ever loved me. It started off good. We'd say I love you every chance we got. We'd fall asleep in each other's arms, make out until we couldn't breathe, make plans for the future, the normal shit, you know? But somewhere along the lines, something changed, and she just didn't feel the same. And, you know, I tried again after. Went on a few dates here and there, but something always seemed to get in the way after her.
Do you think you really needed someone to love you?
I don't know. I mean, I know I didn't. I always knew I didn't, but I always wanted it, you know? Just seeing everyone around me being loved, I just felt like I wanted a little bit of that too.
That's bullshit. You don't need to be loved because all that ever did for me was get me hurt.
Let's refrain from hostility, dear.
I'm sorry, never mind.
I think you're great, man.
Really?
I mean, I'm a war photographer. It's what you do. You observe, you see a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people in my time. I think you're great, but you didn't need me to tell you that. You always knew.
What was that? Where'd that thing take him?
The next stage. He found his peace.
Is that going to happen to all of us?
In time, yes. Let's keep the conversation going, shall we?
I can't sleep at night. I can't even begin to describe to you the aftermath of destruction I've seen. People, families crawling through crumbled buildings just to know if their family's okay. I guess what I'm struggling with is, why do people think it's okay to pay the price for adults' hatred and violence with children? Why would someone create a world so evil and corrupt, and they can find peace after they've died?
No one created the world, For. We're all just figures in a larger story. It's like I said before, there is no all-powerful force or all-knowing judge. We just exist.
Then how does any of it matter?
It matters because you matter. You give power to your own existence. Let no one take that from you, not even the cruelest stroke of indifference. You did good. You did what you could.
I could have done more. I should have done more.
No, dear, you did good. Dozens of people have sat in that chair whose lives were made better because of you, because you gave them a voice.
There's something else.
What is it?
Years ago when I was in Gaza, I met this family, and they were poor and homeless and struggling to survive, and people would walk by them like they were nothing. Now, as a war photographer, you're not really supposed to get involved, Maybe it was just the years of being forced to stand by, or maybe it was something else. But I bought them a loaf of bread and an umbrella, and I just told them to take care of themselves. And the grandmother kept grabbing my arm and thanking me and telling me how kind I was. And it was nice, but I just couldn't help but feel guilty walking away knowing I was going back to a motel room. But the looks on their faces, eating their bread that I bought them, just, it was beautiful. They were so happy. And when you come from where I did, you tend to take for granted what you have.
That is beautiful.
Are they okay?
You can't save everyone, Four. It's just the way of life.
I just hope I made an impact.
Four, your actions will permeate through history for decades. You did more than enough.
Yeah, I didn't do too bad, did I?
Not at all.
I was an alcoholic.
You bitch!
No! Stop! Please! I knew an alcoholic once.
My father wasn't really the best man. He never really had a problem that he couldn't solve with a belt or by the bottom of a bottle. A lot of the time he took it out on my mother. Either it was the chicken was overcooked or the dishes weren't clean. But I could hear it. What kind of man would do that as their child was asleep? I never told her that I knew. Even when she was sick and dying, I never had the courage to go up and tell her that. I knew, Mom. I knew. And then she died. I don't know how she died before he did. I mean, his livers were trying to kill him any other night. And of course he wasn't at her funeral. He's probably at some bar somewhere, drunk out of his mind. I couldn't cry at her funeral. When I got home and I was all alone, I sobbed, realizing that I was all alone. I started freaking out, ripping stuff off the walls, throwing things around. I started blaming her, saying that she left me. How could she leave me with him? And then I promised myself that I would never resort to the methods my father had, but 6 years later, I bought a 6-pack of vodka. And it just seemed like all the worries went away, and unfortunately, I liked it. I promised myself I would never turn into him, but I ended up becoming him.
You're weak.
What?
You're weak. That was weak. You saw it happen, just what? Decided it didn't matter? Do you realize how many things could have happened? What you could have done to people?
Of course I have. That's all I think about.
It doesn't make sense.
What doesn't make sense?
How can someone like that deserve to have peace?
Why wouldn't he?
Are you kidding? Do you understand how many lives he could have destroyed?
But he didn't.
Then I guess he's lucky. You don't know what it's like to have your life destroyed by that.
Oh, number two, it's just us here. Let yourself feel.
I'm scared.
I know. It's a scary thing, trauma.
What does death know about trauma?
I used to be human, you know?
Really?
Flesh and blood.
How did you...
Become death.
I was a lot like you when I was alive. Self-sufficient, independent. I acted like I didn't care about anything, but in reality, the amount of emotion, empathy coursing through my body, it was dangerous. I trusted everybody, and I mean everybody. That is until a friend took advantage of me. He said he was drunk, said it was the alcohol, but that's just an excuse they use so they're not held accountable, which they rarely ever are anyways. After that, I never trusted anybody much. I spent most of my life like that until I met somebody who finally made me put my guard down. And when it happened, oh, what a magnificent thing it was. It was the best decision I ever made, saying yes to him. We spent the better end of 40 years together before he passed. What a beautiful life it was, I'll tell you that. I went on to live for another 13 years before my time came. I spoke with death, much like you are now, where she told me that she thought I'd make a good one. A good... Death. So there are more of you?
Oh, dozens. We come in all shapes and sizes, you know.
Do you hate him?
The boy? Not anymore, no. He was a little shit, I'll give you that. I don't let him occupy my space. I lived a beautiful life, and that's all I could ever ask for. All anybody could ever ask for.
I think I hate him. My guy.
That's normal. There's no roadmap to healing. You could hate him for an eternity, or you could forgive him the next minute, even second from now. But I know you'll move on.
How do you know?
Because you deserve peace.
I think I'm ready. Isn't the guy going to come get me?
He doesn't have to. I'm perfectly happy with walking you into the next life myself.
Is it scary?
No, dear.